Good morning, everyone. Welcome into my office here at Bethany. Blessed to have you with me today. This week's gospel is quite an interesting one. In some ways, it's hard for us to hear sometimes. It relates to the cost of being a follower or disciple of Christ. You've got people asking Jesus, can I follow you? But if it's okay, I'd like to go bury my father, or I'd like to go say goodbye to my family first. And Jesus basically saying, no, it's not okay. You put following me ahead of everything else in your life. Kind of harsh in some ways when you think about somebody who said, I'd like to say goodbye to my family, or I'd like to go bury my father. And Jesus saying, I come first, always, no matter what. Seems harsh, maybe not as harsh as we think it is. First of all, I'd like to point out the difference between being a disciple and being an apostle. Discipleship is about following. If I'm a disciple, I want to follow Christ. Being an apostle is being one who goes out and spreads the gospel to other people, who teaches about Christ. And in a lot of ways, we are both. We are both disciples and apostles. But of course, as Jesus points out in this gospel to us, there's a cost that comes with being a disciple and with being an apostle, that at some level we have to sacrifice things, sometimes important things, in order to do that particular work. And sometimes it's hard for us to make the decision to do that sacrifice, to bear that cross, if you will, in order to be the disciple and the apostle. But the truth is, as I pointed out, it maybe is not as bad as we think it is. The truth is, there are people in this world who we would do anything for, who we would drop everything to go help. In our lifetimes, that can be some of our friends. It can be family. It can be children and grandchildren. It could be nieces or nephews. It could be our parents or our grandparents, where we would literally drop everything at a moment's notice to go be by their side and help them if they needed it. We would literally just, whatever we were doing, throw it aside and go right out the door in that moment. And we see people who do this, by the way, all the time. Here in Batavia, Father Mike from the Episcopal Church should be raised up. He has been the long-time chaplain for the police and fire departments. There are a bunch of us, myself included, who occasionally fill in when he is on vacation, but he has been the long-time chaplain for the police and fire departments here in Batavia. And that has meant at all hours of the day and night, when his phone goes, just going, just whatever he's doing, drop it and go to be with those who are in need. And of course, all of us do that, like I said, for various people in our lives. So maybe Jesus' response has more to do with the fact that we should be willing to drop everything and go for our love of Christ, for our love of Him. Our love of Him should be at that level, that we are willing to drop everything at a moment's notice to follow Him, to be with Him. Sometimes that is to take care of Jesus and to bless Jesus. Sometimes it is for our own needs that we go to Jesus in a moment's notice. But his point is, be willing to drop everything because you love me enough, Jesus, to follow Him wherever and whenever He needs us to. Actually, that call to love Jesus, to love Him that way, is really what this gospel is all about. Being willing to love Jesus so much that we would drop everything at a moment's notice to be by His side. It really isn't too much to ask, especially as we know what He has done for us. We know that we are blessed. We know that we are loved each and every day of our lives. This is the day the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. Thanks be to God. Amen.